Okay, so I think we all know and accept that gamblers as a breed are not interested in numbers, and all they know about numbers is that they won't apply to them next time they go to the table and put money down. There's going to be some kind of miraculous change in circumstances which will absolve them from any negativity whatsoever, and they'll end up making a shitload of money with very little outlay. But I have always said, and will continue to say until the day I fall off my perch, that numbers are absolutely essential, or accepting knowledge of numbers, working with numbers, knowing numbers is essential to success in the marketplace that I call, or which is, let me try and get this straight, in what I call a marketplace, but what everybody else calls games of negative expectation, house games, in other words, table games, casino games, all with a negative expectation. You can beat them all, or at least the ones with the sensible and beatable house advantage, which is, of course, blackjack, baccarat, craps, right? You can beat them all as long as you understand the numbers and you respond to them and you respect them, recognize them, deal with them, and overcome them. That's what it's all about. Anyway, here I go again. So I'll try and explain a little bit, reasonably briefly, what this is about. What this is in this column here, there are 10,000 randomly chosen results, which are based entirely on the instruction here, which is basically to say, if a number between 1 and 10,000 is this value or less, okay, 10,000 being the count from top to bottom, then it's a win. If it's more than that, then it's a loss. And that results in a final house advantage right here of minus 1.3%. So that's the house advantage for baccarat, which is the highest of the two games that I tend to focus on, blackjack and baccarat. And what I did here was that I ran 1,027 iterations of 10,000. So that's 10 million, more than 10 million actual rounds. And what you get here is you get a flat result of minus 133,390 on action of 10,270,000, which is basically this, okay, times this, times 1. So what we're assuming here is a flat bets of $1, right? So there you get your 1.3%. Here what I've done is put in flat bets at 250. And so obviously what you would expect is that number times 250, that number times 250, right? And the same percentage, minus 1.3. Now what I get stick from sort of innumerate nitwits quite often about is me saying, okay, random betting, which is what the casinos want everybody to do, random betting is exactly the same as flat betting. It will have the same result. Not immediately, but over time it will have the same result. So, okay, so I ran this 10 million here, okay, and I got, what did I get? I got betting randomly. We had slightly more wins. We had 146 wins instead of 99. And of course, it's 99 there, right? So we got a few more wins. But what happened? A loss of 33,383,000, blah, blah, blah. Action of blah, 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 blah. AV, oh my goodness, exactly the same as here and here, which are flat betting, right? The action was actually 2% greater than flat betting at 250. But these are set, this thing here is set random, and random bets between 10 and 500. Okay, so the middle ground on that is slightly above 250, right? If I'd said from 1 to 250, that'd be fine. But who bets 1? Nobody allows you to bet 1. You might get away with betting 10, but not 1. So just for the sake of realism, I did it that way. So there you go. So you've got 1.3% against the player, 1.3% against the player, 1.3% against the player. Okay? Now, lots of people out there, well, no, not lots of people, but 1 or 2 people out there are bound to say, oh, yeah, well, I mean, he just rigged that, didn't he? He just fixed it. He set it up so that it would prove his point. So what I'm going to do very quickly here is just kill all this lot. I've got to hope I do this right. All right, so that's wiped out. And then we go back up there. And then we hit a macro which tells it to do another lot. So, and this is just so that you can see that it's not me mucking with anything. It's just how it is. Now this should work. Control Shift M. All right. Alexa, stop. I'm not thirsty. Okay, and now we're going to do a whole bunch more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just going to keep on going. And just watch what happens up there. That's only 143, but we're down to 1.4, 1.4, 1.4. Okay? Let's do a few more just for the fun of it. Oh no, it won't do that because it's given me an error message which I ignore. All right, so now we're at 245. And what does that show? 1.4, 1.4. Oops! Slightly worse for the random better. It's funny, Excel has some funny little messages that pops up every so often, and they seem completely meaningless to me. We couldn't copy the content to the clipboard because it's in use by another application. Yeah, that's because a macro is running, I guess. Well, now I've got Alexa giving me a hard time. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. Once you get down to, 4 million, you're absolutely settled on exactly what we saw before, which is this action here is 0.4% of this action here, because the bet here is 250 and the bet here is 1. Okay, so that's correct. That's fine. That's absolutely perfect. Because you multiply that by 250, and what do you get? You get 100%. So over here we've got 1.3%, and we've got, so as far as I'm concerned, this is about, sort of case closed, QED, etc., etc. But I still get people who argue with me. And if you watch the guys with their own gambling channels on YouTube, they're all random punters, crazy random punters. And that is what the casino wants us all to be. And that's why there are table limits. It's to sort of squeeze us in. I just watched another session with Mr. Handpay, Jason Bulkey, playing that abortion of a game. Oh, sorry, I don't mean abortion. That's entirely the wrong word. Abomination is what I meant. An abomination of a game, Double Down Madness. And the limits there are 100 to 1,000 at the table, right? You can double down as much as you like, but if you get an ace, you only get 1 card on top, on top of that. So tough tits. Of course, what most people will do is they will double when they see an ace, because you get your first card and then you decide whether you want to double or not. If you decide to double your ace, you get 1 card, that's it. And, it just goes on and on. I mean, it is just But I hope this will help you understand why I'm so adamant about the dangers of random betting. It is exactly the same as flat betting. And common sense tells you if there's negative expectation, then if you bet randomly and it is the same as flat betting in the long run, then you will have a negative outcome. And this is why I've been saying for donkey's years that when they say erudite, philosophically cleansing, sort of brilliant things like any amount bet against a negative expectation must have a negative result, it is absolutely true as long as you're betting flat or randomly. Okay? So, that is the big difference. The next step is going to be me adding pattern betting to this specific demonstration. But I'm leaving that for now only because I want as many people as possible to absorb the simple truth. And I don't mean to be lectury, and I don't mean to be unfriendly or anything like that. I just want to help as many people as possible get to grips with the reality of these games and to milk those games for as much as they can. But you cannot do it without a monster bankroll, and you can't do it without a plan. A plan on its own won't work, and a big bankroll on its own won't work, no matter what Dana White says, or any of those other guys who hurl money around with commas and zeros all over the place that are just completely unrelatable to anything that a normal person could ever even think about gambling. But that's how those guys are, and that's why they get their audience, because they're doing stuff which is A, incredibly stupid, B, incredibly dangerous, C, incredibly expensive, and I don't know, whatever else you like to think of. So there we got it. That's 12 minutes. Oh my God. Next time. Okay, so what I've done here is I've added in pattern betting, playing against the same outcomes, the random outcomes in column B, over which I have absolutely no control, except that I have set the random number formula, the RNG formula, to approximate minus 1.3%, which is about the the story for baccarat. Now I'm going to go over to no, I'm not, because I've forgotten one little thing. There we go. This is where pattern betting is. And each time I press the recalc, you're going to get sort of different types of results. I mean, that's a loss there, as you can see at the top. That's a win. And every time you see a win over 10,000 outcomes like this, that is according to the mathematicians who feed out all the bullshit that casinos like us to swallow hook, line, and sinker. According to them, it is absolutely impossible. You cannot do it over a representative sample of outcomes, a representative number of outcomes. You won't be able to do this. Well, sorry, folks. We won't see a win every time, and I'm going to show you why. I'm always banging on about how if you get into a situation where you feel uncomfortable or threatened or stressed or in any way sort of just uncomfortable, get out of there, because all we care about is patterns, and the standard pattern is back and forth on a fairly kind of, not exactly ping pong, because that's 1 1 1 1 1 1, but it's kind of ping pong ish in that it's 2 wins, 3 losses, 1 win, 2 losses, 3 losses, 5 wins, sort of that kind of thing. 5 is a bit high. But what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for an absolutely ridiculous, here we go, absolutely ridiculous situation. Okay, so we gagged here. And the way this is set up is that if you decide to gag for whatever reason, get up and go is what gag means, right? If you decide to do that, then a new shoe, as soon as you get to a new shoe, you start over. All right? So that's what happened here. And the way I've set it up here is there's a formula in here which says if, whatever the number is up there, if the count to date, which to this point would be 1,337 less 7. So whatever. If it's divisible by this amount, then you put a number in here. So we would have had 19 shoes, assuming 70 hands per shoe, which is fine for baccarat, not so great for blackjack. But hey, come on, we've got no doubles and splits going on in here, so don't worry about that. We also have no ties. But then what happens is you then resume betting, okay? And here we had a typical example of that. We gagged all the way down here, and then started again with the start of a new shoe, had 2 losses, then a win, then a loss, and then 3 wins in a row. And that's the sort of thing that you can expect to see. But what I'm looking for here is one of these really sort of ridiculous runs that nobody, no human being would put up with. Here we're gagging again. This is another perfect example. Gag, 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 gag. And then a new shoe starts here, and we get boom, 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 3 wins in a row. So that was happy. But at some point, we're going to hit something that is really, really shitty. We still might look at that one. I mean, we even came out of that one. That was bad enough. But I'm just showing you the sort of the cold-blooded effects of using pattern betting. And you won't, in these sims here, you won't always see a positive result because there are a couple of issues here. I don't think this is ever going to recover, is it? Yeah, you see, once you get to the max there, you are screwed. And I've only set the max 25 to 25,000, which is a bit on the low side, really. Oh, look at that. We turned it around anyway, eventually. That's something else. But this is the sort of thing that you need to sort of think about. And of course, as usual, the green horizontal bars mean a turnaround. So just try and take a sort of an independently minded, unbiased look at this. And you're just seeing turnaround after turnaround after turnaround. And I suspect that, look at that. Is this one going to turn around? Yes, it did. So, it's just, come on. They all turn around until we get to the very end, because I think that's what happens is at the very end, we're in so much trouble. Yeah, this is crazy because the max just wasn't enough. We're never going to get out of this. So we could go all the way down to the very bottom. And look at that. See, we're at minus a million something or other, but the result is actually only minus 399 because before that, way up at about, let's see, F5 AD 4500 maybe. Yeah, we were still positive there. See, 216 ahead, and we keep on winning. But these horrendous spikes for the house, you just wouldn't see if you were behaving like a human being. Just walking away from these things. And yes, there's lots of gags. There are in fact 5,060. That's the number up there. 5,060 gags, which is, sort of means that we've skipped half of the hands outcomes that we would have bet against. But I'm just trying to show you that it's just not right to claim what the mathematicians do, which is that it is impossible to beat negative expectation. And let's take a look at this little bit over here. These are all, each one of these is 10,000, right? 10,000 rounds. So right now we're at, collectively, with all of the ones that we've seen so far, which is, let me have a look here. It's 1.3 million. No, that's wrong. Sorry, I beg your pardon. It's 410,000 bets. We are at minus 0.3, which is 27% of the expected, which is along here. Minus 1.3, minus 1.3, minus 1.3. So you can see that, if you're betting flat or you're betting a fixed amount here, which is the same thing as betting flat, but now it's 250 a pop. Same thing, and then random, same thing. 6 wins, 6 wins, 7 wins, and then 28 wins here. And what you have to do is you have to look at these nasty little big red numbers here and think, would they really actually apply? Would they, would they be there if a human being was playing and sort of saying, whoa, this is way too much. But just anyway, in the meantime, just look at this 27% up here. And we'll do some more now. It's very slow. That's the problem, because, of course, it's got the pattern betting work to do on 10,000 rounds. So it takes a while. See, we're coming down to 18% now, 15%. It's all up there at V3. I don't think we're going to see a positive number there. But, this is the collective one up here. I don't think we're ever going to see a positive number there, because what we're doing is we're sort of basically saying, okay, we're going to sit through whatever is thrown at us. We're just going to put up with it. We're not going to walk away. I get, yes, we are walking away because of the gag rule being applied, but it is still being applied somewhat loosely, rather less stringently than if a human was playing, Okay, we've jumped to 32%, but just consider the fact that this is 620,000 rounds so far, and the mathematicians will tell you, oh no, it's got to be the same as the AV, the actual value. So you're going to lose minus 1.2%, minus 1.2, minus 1.2, minus 1.3, because of the slight variance with random betting there. But we're still at minus 0.6. Impossible, say the experts. But their job basically is to tell us that we can't win. And of course, most of us believe them. And so we bet like total idiots. Okay, we just jumped a big stretch there. See all those million plus losses? We wouldn't have stood for that. I haven't run one with a huge maximum bet, which I could do. I could make the maximum bet, say, 250,000 and see what happens there. And maybe I'll add that on to this, but I won't make you nice people sit through this very, very slow process. I'll just do it in my own time and then show you the collective number after saying, oh, I don't know, whatever. I mean, it's tedious for me to watch this too, because it really is a slow process. If I had a super fast whiz-bang computer, which I hope to get this year at some point, then this would go, like, I don't know, Speedy Gonzales. But right now, so we're at 61% at 920,000. We're at 61% of expectation. And that's not possible, according to the mathematicians who work for the casinos, who want your money. So there you have it. Anyway, back in a minute. All right, so this is where I think it starts to get interesting, and I've been doing this stuff for so long, with the numbers, and also, of course, in all the years that I lived in Nevada, playing the games too, But if you envisage a situation where you say, this is a business, I'm not doing this for fun, I have a lot of money behind me to invest, to protect me when the going gets tough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet from 25 to 250,000. Now, yes, you would be perfectly right to say, well, that is what nobody can do. But the point is, this exercise, this whole sort of like demonstration series that I've put out over the past many, many months, it's about a year, I guess, is all about saying, if you listen to the casinos and if you bet the way they want you to, in other words, randomly with very, very tight betting spreads, then you cannot beat them. But if you adopt a business-like attitude and say, okay, I'm going to bet at this game over here, I'm going to bet from 25 to whatever the top limit is from 25, which is about 1,000, okay? Soon as you can't make a bet, then you move to another game. And you might be going from blackjack to baccarat or the reverse. You might be going to the craps table. I'm not that familiar with craps, largely because it takes too damn long and I get very uncomfortable standing for a long time. And I think it's possible to pull a stool over and all the rest of it. But it always seems a bit of a hassle. And on weekend nights, it's really tricky because if you have a stool, you take up more space. And then, of course, not as many people can get in and you become very unpopular. But that's all beside the point. I'm just suggesting to you that what you need to do is just look at these numbers, have an open mind, think about it, understand what it's saying. I am not saying you need to have enough money to bet 250,000 max. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that when the mathematicians tell you that any amount bet against a negative expectation must in the long run have a negative result, they are lying to you. And if you stop here and you look at these huge losses, you've got to be sensible and ask yourself, okay, in that situation, this is obviously what happened here, is that towards the end of the 10,000, we went into a slump, couldn't turn it around because we ran out of outcomes, right? So because I haven't been able to, I could set this up to roll over to the next recalc, but I haven't done that because I think my point is pretty bloody well made already. Thank you very much. But anyway, come down to the next one. This one here, same story. This one here, huge. This one here, ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. You know, and yeah, we had a little burst of nasties here. But would that really happen in real life? Would you sit still for that? You know, that's the thing. I mean, you know, going back up to the top here, we've got minus 1.4, which is a bit on the high side, but minus 1.4 repeated with the 250 flat bet, repeated precisely with the random betting from 10 to 500, right? Same story, minus 1.4%. Over here, minus 0.2%, right? If you take out just the biggest one of these, you go into credit up here. You know, so you just got to lose one of those. But I'm just trying to make as many people as I can reach understand that if you let the casino tell you how much to bet, you will fail. But if you say to yourself, okay, this is my top limit, this is how much money I've got, if I hit a max and I haven't turned around yet, I will go to another game. And if I have to wait till tomorrow, or if I have to travel to another state, or if I have to go to another country, I'm going to do it because I know that I'm going to turn around eventually, and I will keep climbing up the ladder until I turn around, and then I'll go back down to the minimum bet level again. The next thing, of course, you have to think about is running this as a business, which is what I've been talking about for years. Then what you do is you don't just do it all on your own. If you want to do it on your own, fine, you can. I did that for years. I didn't make a ton of money, but I didn't lose a ton of money either. So, you know, that's the most important thing. I had limited resources and I also had limited time because I had to raise a family, earn a living, do my job, which involved me leaving Nevada frequently to go to other states and even other countries to interview, some celebrities, people like that. Top hole people, musicians, and I don't know. I just, I I look back on that period of my life and I think, bloody hell, how the hell did I pull that off? But anyway, I did, and it was fun, and then eventually it got old. But anyway, back to the main point here. If you take control, then you might consider a situation where, okay, you're not on your own. You'll have Joe betting at the bronze casinos, which is the ones 25 to 1,000. And then you'll have Fred or Martha or whatever betting at the silver casinos, which is, 500 to 5,000. And then somebody else at the gold casinos. The minimum bet is 1,000, the max is 25,000. Whatever it is that they'll give you, whatever you can get. And then you'll have somebody else who's a platinum high roller, who has a much higher minimum and a max. But every time he turns around, he stops, right? And then, of course, you've got the diamond high roller after that. Could all be one person, could be 5 people. That's not the consideration. That's not what I'm concerned about with all of these things I'm putting up right now. I'm just trying to make as many people as I can possibly reach understand that mathematicians are in the service of casinos. People like, what's his face, Casino Match Faker, various other people who put up all sorts of nonsense about, oh, this is a great strategy. It has a 99.7 win rate, bloody, bloody, blah. I mean, you look at the win rate for this one, 10,000 sessions, 130 wins in 143 sessions. That's not 99.7%, but it's pretty bloody good at 10,000 a pop, So that's basically, that's the name of this tune, I mean, look at these losses here. Would they really happen in real life? I mean, you decide, you tell me. But I mean, look at this run here. These are each 10,000. Win, 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 win. Oopsie, nearly nasty. If you look at the things like this, I mean, that's a huge action there, which is a bad sign. But we came out with a win. We turned around, we hit some shit and turned it around. And this is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 250,000 bets, right? And all this amount won. So, just think about it. That's all. And going over to here, this is what this looks like. This particular one is a win of a million plus. It's 3.9% of action. It doesn't tell me what the that's my fault. It doesn't tell me what the AV is, so I need to have that. Oh my God, the AV was 3.4%. Dear, oh dear. Now this is going to change because it's going to recalc. Well, that's all right. See, so we got another win there. So this here, minus 1.2, we made 10.3%. When this is the stuff that matters, this is what makes monkeys out of these mathematicians. It makes liars out of everybody who says, whoa, these games can't be big, whoa. I mean, if you look at this one here, I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, so the win is only 575 against exposure of, oh boy, this is 16,000. But it's a win. And we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins, and all the rest, 6, 12, 14, 15 losses. So that's the kind of thing that you're aiming for, people. That's what you need to do. You need to be able to win more when you win than you lose when you lose, so that losing more bets than you win won't bankrupt you. That's the story. Okay? So, end of lecture. See you later. Okay, I tidied this up just a little bit to make it a little bit more kind of like focused on the concept of pattern betting. And as I hit the recalc thing here, you're not going to see, sort of wonderful wins every time, but you're going to see them nearly every time. That's the diff, What are we looking at here? We're looking at, okay, so the actual value was a house edge of 1.24%. We managed to pull off 1.54% player edge. Try that again. 9.05% against minus 1.28%. Come on. A player edge of 7.4% against a house edge of 2.7%. Player edge of 1.9 against a house edge of minus 1.2. Sorry, if it's a house edge, then it's a plus number, but you know what I mean. What are we doing here? Player edge 7.6% against a 0.7% for the house. There's a huge loss, and it's one of those rare ones that I can't do anything about that because there isn't a human being playing here. But I think you get the idea. You'd have run away. You'd be doing something else. 2.8% against 0.9% negative. Negative expectation of 2.24. We managed 3% player edge. Another nasty there. But you're going to see those as long as this is sort of like AI rather than HI. Oh, that was a big one. That 11.62 there, wasn't it? 5.9% for the players instead of 2.4% against us. And this just keeps happening. But yeah, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying you've got to have 250,000. You've got to be ready to bet a whole load of bets at $250,000 each. No. I'm just saying, don't believe the lies. Don't believe the mathematicians. Don't fall for that crap. But don't play if you don't have a bankroll equal to the task of taking you through the sort of downturns which are inevitable in these games. The normal ping pong to and fro, back and forth, sort of yin and yang, blah de blah. Anybody can get through that. I mean, like watching Degen Dolt and his, I think his first 16 bets, he didn't lose one. Well, yeah, I mean, a blind monkey could get through that lot and make a profit just pushing stuff out. And he'd win because he didn't lose a hand. And in the end, he was 21 ahead, and I think 21 ahead and 6 losses. So, crazy. I'll just do a couple more just for the fun of it. 10.5% against negative expectation of minus 1.06. 1.9% against 1.5. Plus 7% against minus 1.9. I mean, I could do this till I was blue in the face. In fact, I think I am already blue in the face. But there you are. Catch you later.